and welcome to Kayla's World. I'm Kayla Canoe, aspiring author, and today I am going to be doing the Fearless Writer Tag. So the Fearless Writer Tag is back from 2019. I believe it was created by Kim Chance and Edward Gray, and I will link their information below so that you can check out their original videos. But yeah, so I decided to do a tag today because, well, I've been going through a little bit of a rough patch just in general with my mental health, and so I thought that this Fearless Writing Tag would be a good way to inspire and motivate myself. But yeah, so I am just going to go ahead and get right into it. The first question is lies. What is the biggest fallacy you are telling yourself with writing/becoming a writer? Honestly, I don't really know how to answer this one. I guess I could say that one, I was not 100% sure what fallacy meant, and I had to look that up. So maybe that's a fallacy in itself. Anyway, but I don't know. I'm very realistic, I guess, in my expectations in general. So I don't really think that I'm lying to myself. I'm very self-aware in the sense of I know writing is hard, and I know realistically getting published is hard, and I know that there's going to be lots of obstacles, and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of time, and I don't think I'm lying to myself about anything in general as far as being a writer, as I don't think it's really a lie to think that I could support myself as a writer. Eventually, obviously, that requires a lot of work. I don't know, I'm a really brutally honest person, so I don't lie to myself, and I don't lie to anyone else, which, upsides, downsides to that, I guess. We're just gonna go to number 2. Starting new. Does the first draft scare you or motivate you? So I think before I wrote my first novel in full, I think the concept of a first draft was scary because, if you really think about it, you have a blank sheet of paper and you want to make that into a book, so going from nothing to a novel of 100,000 words is a very daunting task in and of itself. So if you're really just thinking oh man, I gotta write this manuscript, that's kind of a big feat to put on yourself. But it's also kind of, motivational for me. Now that I'm at the end of my first novel and I'm starting to move along in the process with that, I am outlining for my second and third novel, and so I am really motivated and excited to start writing the first drafts of those novels because it's nice to get back into the writing after kind of switching gears into more of the editing and marketing and all that other stuff. So the first draft is motivational in the sense that I can just sit down and write and get everything out. But it is also daunting, I guess. But really, when you break it down into small pieces and figure out what writing process works for you, I think it's easier to stay motivated because a few years ago I hadn't completed a full novel, so back then I would have been oof, that's really daunting. But now that I've done it, it's okay, cool, so I did this thing and this is how I did it, and so now I can look back and be alright, so it took me this long to write this many words, and my process was kind of baby outline, and then actual writing, and then okay, that was trash, that first draft was trash, so I re-outlined, and then my second draft was really the complete novel. The first draft was not a complete novel, it was, but it was missing so much stuff that it wasn't a complete novel. But then I re-outlined and basically rewrote it, and my second draft is kind of like my first draft. But yeah, I got a little off topic. Anyway, having been through it, I think I have more motivation now going into first drafts than I would have if I had never made one before, I guess. Question number 3, roadblock. What's your number one obstacle stopping you from writing? Gaming. gaming is a huge obstacle. I mean, it's really not that big of an obstacle, but really, like, having other hobbies that are also time consuming is probably one of the biggest obstacles, just because, like, time, there's only so much time. So, like, in reality, time is my obstacle in um, in writing, because I only have so much time, and if I'm working full time doing a day job and I also want to play video games with my partner, or I'm doing my, I work out, so I'm trying to, health and fitness stuff and doing my aerial circusy stuff on the weekends, like, my time is consumed heavily in all these things that I do, and so to do everything that I already do and also write, it's like, where's the time, and can we make the days longer, so that's definitely my biggest roadblock, and I would imagine that that's probably a roadblock for a lot of people, but you have to make it a priority, right? I have to sacrifice something in order to write, and it's a choice. But yeah, time is an obstacle for sure. Question number 4 ties right into that, into reflect. How can you overcome the obstacle? So with time being my obstacle, in order to overcome that, obviously good time management skills. I use a planner. I plan out what I do. I've had to limit my time in the gym because now that I guess not right now because we're in quarantine, but before quarantine, I had taken a position to where I was working 45 hours a week, versus before I'd only been working like 32 and a half hours a week. So like when I made that transition, like obviously I couldn't spend 2 hours in the gym and work and then still have more time at the end of the day to write. So I've had to, time management and prioritization really are how I have dealt with my roadblock of time. So picking what's most important and limiting, just giving myself a really time-based schedule. Like, I can spend 30 minutes to an hour exercising every day, and that's it. That's my limit. Get in, do the thing, be done with it, and then I have time for writing, time for eating, scheduled it all out, and that really helps kind of planning for success. Planning for success. That is how I do it. Number 5, perfection. How can you challenge yourself to get past the perfectionism/procrastination trap? Acceptance. Really, just accepting that nothing's going to be perfect, which really is really hard because, like, I'm personally extremely, like, OCD and, like, obsessively organized, and so, like, for me, making a planned out time-based schedule and having specific goals and all that stuff, it helps me to reach goals because, like, I already have it planned out, and so having a plan helps. But, like, for perfectionism, I think when it comes to writing, you gotta think of it as art, and sometimes what makes art most appealing is that it's not perfect. Looking at a perfect circle versus like some abstract painting, it's not a perfect shape, but it's more interesting because it's not perfect. And really, like, in regards to writing, you can rewrite over and over and over again until you've basically just rewrote the same sentence 100 times, 100 different ways, and really it still has the same meaning. So I don't know, I guess I don't know. I am a perfectionist, but I don't think I struggle with trying to be too perfect when it comes to my writing, because I guess in the back of my mind I'm like, well, if I really, really fuck it up, I can fix it later. So don't stress about making it perfect right now, because it's gonna be shit. Like, my first draft is gonna be complete trash, and then my second draft is going to be so much better, and then drafts after that, it's just going to continue to improve. So, like, I need to make my piece of crap in order to mold it into not a piece of crap, I guess. So yeah, so I think as far as challenging yourself to get past it, it's just, knowing that nothing is perfect, and it doesn't have to be perfect because people like art, and art is not perfect. One person will think it's perfect while another person thinks it's completely imperfect. So like it's really just an abstract perspective in general when it comes to perspective or perfection. Yeah. Number 6, failure sucks. How can you grow from a failure? Well, honestly, this is interesting. So I feel like I've grown as a person a lot over the last 3 years. And I think before, whereas I had more of a fear of failure, where I avoided doing things because I didn't want to be disappointed and I didn't want to be let down. And so, like, I wouldn't put myself out there because of a fear of failure. I have really just worked on myself and changed my way of thinking. And so to me, failure is an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to grow. And sometimes figuring out how to do things the wrong way helps you figure out how to do things the right way, I guess. I mean, it's not necessarily wrong or right, but sometimes becoming successful, or I would say maybe the process of becoming successful, is learning how to fail. So if I try a lot of different things and I experiment around, so like let's say it's with like book marketing, and I try all these different marketing strategies and I fail and I fail and I fail and I fail. Well, knowing all those different things that didn't work, I can adjust and eventually find something that does work. So learning from failure and trying something different, I mean, that's really what it is, right? Once you fail, okay, that doesn't work, let me try something else. And it's just failure is growth. Failure is growth. That's just what I'm gonna say. Failure is growth. If you fail, you can grow and try again and try something different, because if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to have the same result, right? So if you do one thing and it is a failure, and you do that thing again and it's still a failure, well, if you didn't change anything, why would you think that it's going to be better? So failing at something is really good, because now you know what not to do for the future. Learning and growing. Anyway, question number 7. Rejection sucks too. How can you grow / learn from rejection? So rejection. Nobody wants to be rejected. At least I would say most people don't want to be rejected. And rejection can be a growing thing, in the sense that like rejection could also equal failure. So if we're talking like querying or something and an agent rejects your book, well, that's something that you can reflect upon. You can look at it and be like, okay, well, is it my writing, or did I not follow the instructions correctly? Was my submission not, was it your work? Was it your idea? Was it, there's so many different factors of what it could be that is causing you to be rejected. But sometimes it really just is not the right fit. So I think part of learning and growing, and maybe even just accepting rejection, is the fact that everyone has a different perspective and everybody likes different things. So if you have a book that you wrote and it is extremely niche, and you're trying to, advertise it or query it to someone who is extremely mainstream, and they reject you, like, they might just reject you because that's not the type of content that they deal with. That's not the type of content that they're looking for. And so like you can learn from that. Be like, okay, well, maybe my book is more niche than I thought it was, or maybe you didn't have a critique partner or beta partner, or you didn't edit it, and sometimes it's quality and sometimes it's just perspective, and there's someone out there for every story, in my opinion. If you have a story and you tell it, there's going to be someone out there that enjoys it. So it's good to keep perspective when it comes to rejection, but also to learn from it. You should know why you're rejected, and think about that critically, because otherwise, if you don't make any changes, you'll continue to be rejected for the same reasons. Question number 8. Create action. How do you keep moving towards your goals? So motivation, I think, is something that people struggle to attain. And I think motivation strongly comes from within. And I think sometimes letting go of the fear of failure is the greatest way to motivate yourself, because when you're not afraid, you're more willing to try different things, try new things, keep trying even when things don't go the way that you want to. To move towards goals, specifically making specific goals, so knowing and planning and time management and writing those specific goals of, all right, this is what I'm going to do, or these are the things that I need to do to achieve my overall goal. So like having a big goal and then having little baby goals along the way that will add up to big goal. Those are going to be a good way to keep you moving forward, because it's like little baby steps versus, oh, I have this big goal, but I don't know how to go there, or I don't know how to get there. I don't know how to achieve this huge thing that I want to achieve. So break it down into tiny little parts and just achieve it step by step by step, and eventually you're going to reach that goal that you're looking for. And it'll be rewarding, and you can reward yourself along the way. It's good to reward yourself along the way. Question number 9. New year, new outlook. If fear wasn't holding you back, what would you be doing right now to further your writing dreams? So if I'm going to be totally honest, I would probably say that I would be reaching out to more people or talking more directly with more people. And I don't know how much of that is like a fear that I have versus like me being lazy versus like I just don't know how to approach people super well as far as like interacting with fellow authors or fellow writers or, established authors. And maybe that's something that I should work on, but I don't know. I would say that that's probably the only thing that I could see myself, limiting myself from doing because of fear. But again, like I said, I've kind of gotten rid of a lot of the fear. And especially if we're talking like in regards to my writing, I'm very realistic in regards to my writing. And, I am prepared to put in the work and the time and the effort, and I'm willing to fail and fail and fail and fail and fail and fail until eventually I succeed. And I will keep failing even after that and fail some more and then maybe have some more success. So fear is not really holding me back in the sense of specifically towards my writing. I definitely have fear holding me back from other things in my life that I'm not yet going to mention here. But as far as my writing, I'm very much gung-ho, balls to the walls, ready to just do it, whatever it takes kind of thing. But yeah. Last question number 10. Leap of faith. What is one thing you plan to do this year even though it scares you? Scared is relatively, being scared in general is relative, and I don't know that I would necessarily say that I'm scared, but this year I am going to be getting my novel professionally edited. I am having my cover professionally designed. I'm having my interior professionally formatted, and maybe even by the end of this year I will start offering interior formatting as a service, because I'm super OCD and I really love formatting, and I have been playing with all the programs and learning all the things, and so I think that could be considered something that scares me. I've never done any of these things before, so really taking that step to start my own business for my writing, and really, I've put money down to invest in my writing and publishing, and so, that's a big step, and it might seem scary for most people, but for me, I don't know. It's not necessarily scary. If anything, like, I'm really excited for it, and like it's definitely a new phase and a new chapter in my writing journey, my writing career, um, and I plan on doing it this year, and I plan on having my book published probably early next year. Um, and like that is scary. Like, I guess releasing it to the world is scary, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm not being limited by fear anymore when it comes to my writing. So I don't know. But yeah, so that's it. That is all 10 questions for the fearless writer tag. Yeah. If you guys like these types of videos, let me know by commenting below, hitting the subscribe button, giving me a thumbs up. If you like this type of content, I put out new videos on Mondays typically. I know it's Tuesday, but it happens. It's been a rough few days for me. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed your time here in Kayla's World.